My name is Sarah Mitchell and I'm 45 years old. 72 hours ago, I thought I knew my family. I thought I understood my role in it. I thought my older brother Tom was managing our aging parents' affairs because someone had to, and I lived too far away. I was wrong about everything. I'm sitting in a hospital cafeteria right now, drinking coffee that tastes like regret, waiting for my mother to get out of surgery. Minor procedure, but at 78, nothing is truly minor. My brother is upstairs in the waiting room. We haven't spoken since I threw my coffee in his face yesterday. The hospital staff thinks we're having a normal family disagreement. They have no idea that 2 days ago I discovered my brother had systematically stolen our parents' entire lives, their home, their savings, their dignity, and that when I confronted our parents expecting to save them, they told me they'd known all along. Let me back up. I live in Seattle. My parents, George and Linda Mitchell, lived in Cleveland, Ohio. The house on Maple Street where I grew up, where my children spent their summers, where every Mitchell family Christmas happened for 40 years. Tom lives in Cleveland too. Always has. He's 3 years older than me, never married, works in insurance. After Dad's first stroke 5 years ago, Tom became the go-to person. He lived close. He could check on them. He took them to doctor's appointments, managed their medications, handled their bills. I was grateful. I called every Sunday, visited 3 times a year, sent money when they needed it. But Tom was there. Tom was the good son. Or so I thought. This year, I decided to surprise them for Thanksgiving. My husband Jack had a work conference in Chicago the week before, so I planned to extend the trip, drive to Cleveland, spend a week with Mom and Dad. I didn't tell Tom. We'd had a weird tension lately. Nothing I could name, just a feeling. When I asked about Mom and Dad, his answers were vague. They're fine. Managing. When I suggested visiting, he always had a reason why that week wouldn't work. Dad's got that procedure. Mom's not feeling well. Maybe wait till Christmas. I stopped asking. Just booked the flight. November 20th, I landed in Cleveland, rented a car, drove straight to Maple Street. It was 4 p.m., that golden hour when Dad used to sit on the porch reading the paper. I was smiling, imagining their surprise. The porch was empty. No porch furniture at all, actually. Strange. I walked to the front door, rang the bell. A woman in her 30s opened it. Behind her, I could see a toddler playing with blocks in what used to be our living room. "Can I help you?" she asked. "I'm sorry, I think I have the wrong, wait, is this 4247 Maple?" "Yes. This is my parents' house." She looked confused. "No, this is our house. We bought it in August." The world tilted. "That's impossible. My parents live here. George and Linda Mitchell." "I don't know those names. We bought this house from the estate of, let me get the papers." She disappeared inside. Came back with a folder. Showed me a deed. Seller, Thomas Edward Mitchell. Power of attorney for George and Linda Mitchell. Sale date, August 15th. Purchase price, $180,000. Our childhood home, worth at least $400,000, sold for $180,000 by my brother. "There must be a mistake," I said, voice shaking. "My parents didn't sell this house. I would know." I'm sorry, but we have all the legal paperwork. The sale was legitimate. Maybe you should talk to your brother." I called Tom. Straight to voicemail. I called my parents' landline. Disconnected. I called my father's cell phone. A stranger answered. "You've reached the Valley View Care Center. This phone was turned in by a resident's family member." Valley View Care Center. "Yes, Can I help you? Do you have a resident named George Mitchell?" "Let me check. Yes, George and Linda Mitchell, admitted September 2nd. September 2nd. 2 weeks after the house sold. What's the address?" She told me. 90 miles away, in a small town I'd never heard of. I got back in my rental car and drove. Valley View Care Center was not what I expected. It wasn't the nice assisted living facility my parents had always talked about retiring to. It was a nursing home. Old building, cracked parking lot, smell of disinfectant and despair. I walked to the front desk. "I'm here to see George and Linda Mitchell." "Are you on their visitor list?" "I'm their daughter." The nurse checked her computer. "I don't see you listed. Only Thomas Mitchell is approved for visits." "That's my brother. I'm their daughter, Sarah." "I'm sorry, but I can only allow approved visitors. You'll need to contact the person who has their power of attorney to be added. That's my brother, and he's not answering his phone. Please. I just drove 6 hours. I didn't know they were here. Something in my voice must have convinced her. She sighed. Room 147. But you didn't hear it from me. I found their room. Double occupancy. Mom and Dad in twin beds, both sleeping. The TV was on, volume too loud, showing a game show. Mom looked small. Fragile. She'd lost weight. Her hair, always carefully styled, was thin and unkempt. Dad looked worse. Much worse. The left side of his face drooped. Another stroke, clearly. Mom. I touched her shoulder gently. She opened her eyes. Took a moment to focus. Sarah. Her voice was weak, confused. What are you doing here? I came to see you for Thanksgiving. I went to the house. Mom, what happened? Why are you here? Tom didn't tell you. Tom hasn't told me anything. Mom, strangers are living in your house. They said Tom sold it. She looked away. Mom, what's going on? Tom said it was for the best. That we needed the money for care. What care? What happened? She started crying. Quiet, defeated tears. Dad woke up. Saw me. His eyes widened. Sarah. The word was slurred. Difficult. Dad, what happened to you? Stroke. Mom answered for him. 3 months ago. His third one. He can't really talk anymore. Can't walk. He needs full-time care. Why didn't Tom tell me? Why didn't you tell me? Tom said he'd handle it. He said you were busy with your life in Seattle. He said not to bother you. Bother me? You're my parents. I would have come. I would have helped. We didn't want to be a burden. That phrase. I'd heard it my whole life. We don't want to be a burden. The Mitchell family motto. Independence above all else. Never ask for help. Handle your own problems. Mom, the house sold for $180,000. It's worth more than twice that. Where's the money? She looked away again. Mom. Tom said it went to pay for this place. And Dad's medical bills. How much does this place cost? $4,500 a month. For both of us. I did the math. 3 months. $13,500. Even accounting for medical bills, that didn't add up to $180,000. What about your savings? Dad's pension. Social Security. Tom manages all that now. He has power of attorney. Since when? 5 years ago. After Dad's first stroke. We thought it was smart. Someone local to handle things. Can I see your bank statements? Tom handles those. He brings us what we need. A nurse came in. Mrs. Mitchell needs her medication. I stepped into the hallway, pulled out my phone, called Tom again. This time he answered. Sarah. I heard you were at Valley View. You heard. Tom, what the hell is going on? I'm managing Mom and Dad's care. Like someone needs to. You sold their house. They needed the money. For a nursing home that costs $4,500 a month. That's $54,000 a year, Tom. You sold their house for $180,000. Where's the rest? Silence. Tom, where is the money? It's complicated. Uncomplicate it. Dad had debts. Medical bills. Back taxes. It added up. Show me the paperwork. I don't have to show you anything. I have power of attorney. I'm handling this. Are you? Because it looks like you're stealing from them. How dare you? I'm the one who's been here, Sarah. I'm the one taking care of them while you're living your perfect life in Seattle. You don't get to swoop in and judge me. I'm not judging, I'm asking questions. Why wasn't I told they were moving? Why wasn't I told Dad had another stroke? Why did you sell the house for half its value? Because I needed the money fast. Dad's medical bills were piling up. The house needed repairs. I got what I could get. You got what you could get. Tom, that was their home. Our home. It was a house, Sarah. A house they couldn't maintain anymore. I did what was necessary. Without telling anyone. I told them. They agreed. Did they? Or did you tell them they had no choice? He hung up. I stood in that hallway, hands shaking, and realized I had no idea who my brother was. I went back to Mom and Dad's room, pulled up a chair. Mom, I need to know the truth. Did you and Dad agree to sell the house? She wouldn't meet my eyes. Mom, please. Tom said it was the only way. That we couldn't afford to keep it. That Dad's medical bills were overwhelming. Did you see the bills? Tom showed us some papers. It all looked official. Did you want to move here? She was quiet for a long time. No, she finally whispered. We wanted to stay home. Tom said that wasn't possible. That we needed more care than he could provide. That this place was the best option we could afford. This place is a dump, Mom. There are much nicer facilities. Did Tom show you other options? He said this was what the money would cover. I spent the next 2 hours with my parents. Dad couldn't communicate much, but he held my hand. Mom told me bits and pieces of the last 5 years. How Tom had gradually taken over everything. Bills, banking, medical decisions. How he'd told them it was easier if he just handled it all. How they'd trusted him because he was there, he was family, he was helping. How they'd slowly lost control of their own lives. When visiting hours ended, I kissed them both goodbye. I'm going to fix this, I promised. I didn't know how, but I knew I had to try. I drove back to Cleveland, checked into a hotel, and started researching. Elder financial abuse. Power of attorney abuse. Signs, symptoms, legal remedies. Everything I read described what was happening to my parents. The next morning, I called an attorney, Eleanor Brennan, specializing in elder law. Tell me everything, she said. I did. The house sale. The nursing home. The missing money. Tom's evasiveness. Do you have access to any of their financial records? She asked. No. Tom has everything. Were you listed on any of their accounts? I used to be. On their checking account, as an emergency contact. But that was years ago. Try calling the bank. See if you're still on the account. Even as a contact, you might be able to get information. I called Midwest Community Bank, where my parents had banked for 40 years. This is Sarah Mitchell. I'm calling about my parents' account. George and Linda Mitchell. I'm listed as an emergency contact. Let me check. Yes, I see you here. How can I help? I need to verify some recent transactions. My father had a stroke and I'm trying to help sort out his finances. I'm so sorry to hear that. What do you need to know? Can you tell me the current balance? She was quiet. Mrs. Mitchell, the account shows a balance of $247.32. My parents had always kept at least $10,000 in checking. Safety cushion. Dad's rule. What was the balance 6 months ago? June 15th shows $87,432.16. And now it's $247. Yes, ma'am. Can you tell me where the money went? I'm seeing multiple large withdrawals. All authorized by Thomas Mitchell as power of attorney. Checks made out to various companies. Medical facilities, contractors, legal services. Can you email me the last 6 months of statements? I can mail them to the address on file. I don't live there anymore. Can you email them? Bank policy requires physical mail for security purposes. I can expedite shipping. Please do. And can you tell me, do my parents have any other accounts here? They had a savings account. That was closed in July. Closed. What was the balance? $124,853.12. Withdrawn by Thomas Mitchell. Over $200,000. Gone. Thank you. One more question. Did my brother open any new accounts? I can't give you information about his personal accounts without his authorization. Of course. Thank you for your help. I hung up and immediately called Eleanor Brennan. I need to file an emergency petition. My brother has drained my parents' accounts. Over $200,000 missing. They're in a substandard nursing home. I think he's stealing from them. Sarah, I need to be clear about something. Filing this petition will likely destroy your relationship with your brother. It will be public. It will be ugly. Are you prepared for that? He destroyed our relationship when he stole from our parents. All right. Let's do this. Over the next week, Eleanor filed an emergency petition for guardianship. We requested a full accounting of all transactions Tom had made using power of attorney. We requested a freeze on any further transactions. We requested the court appoint an independent guardian to investigate potential abuse. The court granted an emergency hearing. Tom was furious. He called me screaming, "You're dragging our family through the mud. Do you have any idea what this will do to Mom and Dad? What it will do to them? Tom, you stole their life savings. You put them in a terrible nursing home. You sold their house for half its value. What did you do to them?" I managed their care with limited resources. Limited resources. They had over $200,000 in savings. Where is it? Medical bills. Legal fees. Facility costs. Show me the receipts. I don't have to show you anything. You will in court. He hung up. The hearing was set for December 3rd. In the meantime, I visited my parents every day. Talked to the staff. Started documenting everything. The conditions in the facility. The care they were receiving. Or weren't receiving. Mom's bed sores. Dad's medication schedule, inconsistent and poorly managed. The food, barely edible. The activities, non-existent. I also started digging into the house sale. Called the real estate agent listed on the deed. Maple Street property. Oh yes, I remember that one. Quick sale. The seller was very motivated. Why was it priced so low? The seller, Mr. Mitchell, said his parents needed the money fast for medical care. He wanted a cash buyer. Quick closing. We had multiple offers at higher prices, but he chose the fastest one. Did he seem concerned about getting the best price? Not particularly. He seemed more concerned with speed. Did you ever meet the actual homeowners? George and Linda Mitchell? No. Thomas had power of attorney. Said they were too ill to be involved. Did that seem strange to you? A little. But everything was legal. He had the proper documentation. I thanked her and hung up. Everything was legal. That was the problem. Tom had done everything by the book. He had power of attorney. He had the right to make these decisions. The question was, did he make them in my parents' best interest, or his own? December 3rd. The courthouse. Tom showed up with a lawyer. Expensive suit, briefcase, confident smile. My parents were there too. Mom in a wheelchair, Dad in his. Both looking confused and miserable. The judge, a woman in her 60s named Judge Patricia Coleman, reviewed the petition. Mr. Mitchell, you're being asked to provide a full accounting of all transactions made on behalf of your parents using your power of attorney. Do you have that information? Tom's lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client has been managing his parents' affairs for 5 years. He's acted in good faith, making difficult decisions about their care. This petition is a family dispute, not a case of abuse. I'll decide what this is, Judge Coleman said sharply. Do you have the accounting or not? We have some documentation. We're working on compiling the rest. You've had 3 weeks. Where's the documentation? Tom's lawyer handed over a folder. Thin. Maybe 20 pages. Judge Coleman flipped through it. Her expression darkened. This shows the sale of a home for $180,000 and various withdrawals totaling $212,000. But I'm seeing receipts for maybe $30,000 in care costs. Where's the rest? Various expenses. Your Honor. It's all listed. Listed where? I see a note saying miscellaneous medical expenses, $85,000. That's not an accounting. That's a category. We can provide more detail. You should have provided it already. Mrs. Brennan, what's your client's position? Eleanor stood. Your Honor, our position is that Thomas Mitchell has systematically drained his parents' assets while providing substandard care. We believe he's stolen at least $150,000. We're requesting the court remove him as power of attorney, freeze all remaining assets, and investigate where the money has gone. Mr. Mitchell, where has the money gone? Tom stood. Your Honor, with respect, my sister hasn't been involved in our parents' care for years. She lives across the country. She has no idea what it costs to manage 2 elderly people with serious health issues. I've been doing this alone. That's not what I asked. I asked where the money went. Medical expenses. Facility costs. Home repairs before the sale. Legal fees for setting up their estate. It adds up. Show me. I'll need time to compile everything. You've had 5 years to keep records and 3 weeks to compile them. I'm running out of patience. She turned to my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell, did you understand that your house was being sold? Mom looked at Tom. Tom looked at his lawyer. Mrs. Mitchell, the judge prompted. Tom said it was necessary, Mom said quietly. Did you agree to it? Tom said we didn't have a choice. That's not what I asked. Did you want to sell your home? Mom started crying. No. The courtroom went silent. Did your son explain where the money from the sale would go? He said it would pay for our care. Did you know you'd be moved to Valley View Care Center? Tom said it was the best option we could afford. Did he show you other options? No. Judge Coleman made some notes. Mr. Mitchell, I'm ordering you to provide a full, itemized accounting of every single transaction you've made using your power of attorney. Every withdrawal, every check, every transfer. I want receipts, invoices, documentation. You have 2 weeks. And in the meantime, I'm freezing all of your parents' remaining assets and appointing an independent guardian to oversee their care. Your Honor, that's not necessary. It absolutely is necessary. This case smells wrong, Mr. Mitchell. And if I find out you've stolen from your elderly parents, you'll face criminal charges. Do you understand? Tom's face went pale. Yes, Your Honor. We'll reconvene on December 17th. Bring me proof that you haven't stolen from your parents, or bring me a good lawyer. Dismissed. I walked out of that courtroom feeling like I'd won something. But when I looked back, I saw Tom staring at me with pure hatred. We weren't siblings anymore. We were enemies. The next 2 weeks were chaos. An independent guardian, a woman named Gloria Martinez, was appointed. She visited my parents, reviewed what little documentation Tom had provided, and started asking hard questions. She called me on December 10th. Sarah, I need to tell you something. This is bad. Really bad. How bad? I've been able to trace about $75,000 in legitimate expenses. Medical bills, nursing home fees, house repairs. But there's $137,000 I can't account for. Where did it go? That's what I'm trying to figure out. But I found something interesting. Thomas Mitchell opened a personal bank account in July. The same month he closed his parents' savings account. And his account received a deposit of $120,000 in August. My stomach dropped. He stole it. I can't prove the money came from your parents yet. But the timing is suspicious. I've referred this to the district attorney's office. Criminal charges. If I can prove the money came from your parents' account, yes. Elder financial abuse is a felony in Ohio. December 17th. Second hearing. Tom showed up with more documentation. But it was clear he was panicking. His suit looked slept in. His hands shook as he handed papers to his lawyer. Judge Coleman reviewed the new documents. Her expression was grim. Mr. Mitchell, I've reviewed your accounting. I've also received a report from the court-appointed guardian. The numbers don't add up. Your Honor, I can explain. You withdrew $212,000 from your parents' accounts over the past 6 months. You've provided documentation for $73,000 in legitimate expenses. Where's the other $139,000? Various expenses. Medical, legal, personal care. Without receipts. Without documentation. Mr. Mitchell, I'm not an idiot. Neither is the guardian. Neither is your sister. Where is the money? Tom's lawyer whispered to him. Tom shook his head. Your Honor, my client invokes his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. The courtroom erupted. Judge Coleman banged her gavel. Order. Mr. Mitchell, by invoking the Fifth, you're essentially admitting this is a criminal matter. I'm hereby removing you as power of attorney. I'm appointing Sarah Mitchell as emergency guardian. And I'm referring this case to the district attorney for investigation of elder financial abuse. She turned to my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell, I'm sorry you're going through this. Your daughter Sarah will now be making decisions about your care. Is that acceptable to you? Mom looked at me. Then at Tom. Then back at me. Yes, she whispered. Dad nodded, tears running down his face. Judge Coleman signed the order. We're done here. As we left the courtroom, I passed Tom in the hallway. He grabbed my arm. You've destroyed this family, he hissed. I didn't destroy anything. You did when you stole from Mom and Dad. I took care of them when you couldn't be bothered. You stole from them. There's a difference. They would have been fine if you'd just stayed out of it. I pulled my arm away. You're right about one thing. I should have been involved sooner. I should have been watching. I trusted you, and that was my mistake. I walked away. The next 3 months were a blur. I moved my parents to a proper assisted living facility. Clean, bright, activities, real food. It cost $7,500 a month for both of them, but it was worth every penny. I sold my house in Seattle, moved back to Cleveland. Jack understood. Family first, he said. The DA's office investigated. They found exactly what Gloria had found. Tom had transferred $120,000 from our parents' savings account into his own account. He'd used $50,000 to buy a new car, $30,000 for a down payment on a condo, $20,000 for a vacation to Europe. $20,000 was still sitting in his account. He was arrested in February, charged with theft from a person in a protected class, a third-degree felony carrying 1 to 5 years in prison. His trial is scheduled for June. I visited my parents yesterday. Mom's doing better. She's gained weight. She's made friends. She goes to book club and plays bingo. Dad's improvement has been slower, but he's trying. He's in physical therapy. He can say a few words now. Thank you is one of them. Mom, I said yesterday, sitting with her in the facility's garden, I need to ask you something. And I need you to be honest. Okay. Did you really not know what Tom was doing? Did you really think the house had to be sold, that all that money was going to your care? She was quiet for a long time. At first, yes. I believed him. He's my son. Why wouldn't I believe him? At first. About 6 months ago, things started feeling wrong. Tom was evasive when I asked about money. The nursing home was terrible. I asked why we couldn't go somewhere nicer, and he said we couldn't afford it. But I knew what our house was worth. I knew what we had in savings. The math didn't make sense. Why didn't you say something? Because he's my son, Sarah. Because I didn't want to believe my own child would steal from me. Because it was easier to pretend everything was fine than to face the truth. She started crying. I'm so sorry. I should have called you. I should have asked for help. But I was ashamed. Ashamed that my son was doing this. Ashamed that I'd let it happen. Ashamed that I'd failed as a mother. Mom, you didn't fail. Tom made choices. Bad choices. That's not your fault. Isn't it? Where did we go wrong? How did we raise a son who could do this? I didn't have an answer. The thing is, Mom continued, Tom didn't start out bad. He was a good kid. Responsible. Caring. But somewhere along the way, he started resenting you. Resenting me. You left. You built a life. You were successful. Happy. He stayed. He felt obligated to stay, to take care of us. And I think that obligation turned into resentment. He felt like he was sacrificing his life while you were living yours. And eventually, he convinced himself he was owed something. So he stole from you. In his mind, I think he saw it as payment for services rendered. Compensation for being the child who stayed. He was wrong. Completely wrong. But I think that's how he justified it to himself. I thought about that. About how family obligation can curdle into resentment. About how easy it is to justify taking what you think you're owed. I'm sorry I wasn't here more, I said. No. Don't apologize. You built a good life. That's what we wanted for you. The problem isn't that you left. The problem is that Tom stayed for the wrong reasons. I'm writing this from my apartment in Cleveland. It's smaller than my house in Seattle, but it's close to my parents. I see them 3 times a week. Dad's learning to paint in art therapy. Mom joined a choir. Jack visits once a month. He's talking about relocating, finding work in Cleveland. I married you for better or worse, he says. This is worse. I'm not going anywhere. Tom's lawyer called me last week. He's offering a plea deal. Guilty plea, 3 years probation, full restitution, no contact with our parents. What do you think? The prosecutor asked me. What do Mom and Dad think? Your mother said it's your decision. She can't make it. I thought about it for a long time. Tom stole from our parents. He deserves prison. But he's still my brother. And our parents have lost enough. I'll agree to the plea deal on one condition, I told the prosecutor. Mandatory therapy. Real therapy, not some court-mandated checkbox. He needs to understand why he did this. I'll recommend it to the judge. The plea hearing is next month. I don't know if Tom and I will ever have a relationship again. Probably not. The trust is gone. The love is complicated. But I've learned something through all this. Family isn't defined by blood. It's defined by actions. Tom was family by blood. But he stopped being family when he chose theft over integrity. The nurses at Mom and Dad's facility, they're more family now than Tom is. They show up. They care. They choose to be there. Jack, driving 6 hours every weekend to be with me, his family. Eleanor Brennan, fighting for my parents pro bono because she believes in justice, she's family. Family is who shows up when things fall apart. Who makes the hard choices. Who does the right thing even when it's costly. I'm 45 years old, and I'm learning that lesson late. But I'm learning it. If you're reading this and you recognize something in this story, a sibling who's taken control, a parent who's being isolated, financial decisions that don't add up, please pay attention. Elder financial abuse is the fastest growing form of elder abuse in America. It's often committed by family members. By people who should be trusted. And it's devastating. Don't assume everything is fine just because someone says it is. Don't let shame or family loyalty stop you from asking hard questions. Don't wait until it's too late. I almost waited too late. If I hadn't surprised my parents that day, if I hadn't found strangers in their house, I might never have known. My parents might have died in that terrible nursing home, broken alone, while their son lived off their life savings. Trust, but verify. Love, but protect. And remember that sometimes the people who betray us most are the ones we never suspected. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 45 years old. And I'm learning that sometimes saving your family means standing against your family. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. But when I see my dad smile at his painting, when I hear my mom laugh with her choir friends, I know it was worth it. Every difficult conversation. Every legal battle. Every relationship that was destroyed. Worth it. Because at the end of the day, I can look at myself in the mirror and know I did the right thing. Can Tom? I hope someday he can. But that's his journey, not mine. Mine is sitting with my parents, rebuilding trust, creating new memories in the time we have left. That's what family does. The real kind. If this story resonated with you, if you've experienced something similar or know someone who has, please leave a comment. Share your story. You're not alone. And if you suspect something isn't right with an elderly family member's finances, don't wait. Make the call. Ask the questions. It might save their life. I'll see you next time.